Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are doing a mukbang with the new Cheeto'S mac and cheese. So we got all three flavors. So this is the cheesy jalapeno, and that's what it looks like inside.
Smells pretty good.
And then
this is the normal one. It just smells like normal mac and cheese.
This one though was so weird. You can kind of see it like in the where the cheese isn't completely mixed up, like right here. But it was so like neon. It was like neon orange when we put it in. And then
this is the toxic one.
Yeah, this is the atomic bomb that's going to go off in my stomach later. So this one is the flaming hot flavor. And this one also was really weird when we mixed it up because it was, I mean, it still looks weird. It's like this bright red color. So I kind of saw this challenge first on TikTok and I wanted to go ahead and do it. I've already heard what people think about the mac and cheese, so I'm hoping that maybe I'll form my own opinion or that my opinion will differ because I really want this one to be good, but I've heard that this one tastes like hot plastic.
It smells like hot plastic too, so my hopes are
it does. So we shall see.
I'm excited for the jalapeno.
So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try them from like least spiciest to spiciest. So let's go ahead and do that first.
Who's taking first bite?
You can't. So let's do it at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. I'm so glad it stayed hot.
Me too.
That just tastes like normal mac and cheese.
I agree.
Like Kraft mac and cheese, but Cheeto. Cheeto aftertaste. That's pretty bomb. If I was Munchie, I would buy this.
Oh, true. Yeah, I would say, what would you rate this?
I don't think it's as good as Kraft mac and cheese.
I don't think so either.
Like I probably a 6.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6. Like a 6 or maybe a 6.5. Like it's not quite a 7 though. But it's not.
I'm so excited for the jalapeno.
Okay.
Whoa. Oh, I broke it. Oh, I really did break it. Okay. Thank God for nails.
Okay, so yeah, I would definitely give that like a 6 or a 7. I'm really hungry right now. Sorry, guys.
I am too.
Okay.
Wait. So, we're gonna move on to our topic.
Okay. So this is I totally didn't even introduce my sister. This is my sister Catherine, and she is a junior in high school right now. So I just kind of wanted to get some insight from her on what it's like to be doing online school. I know when I was in high school, nothing was like this, and so I guess what my question to you is, how has this changed and like shaped your junior year of high school, being like, you know, doing everything online?
Yeah, everything has been online. We had the opportunity to go back to school, but it was only 25% capacity and then 50% capacity, which I didn't want to do because it was all name-based, like alphabetical. So I didn't have any of my friends in any of my classes anyways.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do fine online. It's not really a problem. I've heard others have problems with platforms like Edgenuity, which the teachers have kind of just left. They don't really participate anymore. It's like a lot of them have just gone to one software and it's already set up for an online school. So
do you feel
they
like
just give you it and like left the building basically?
Do you feel like you're like basically kind of teaching yourself?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you think that this is going to benefit you later in life, or do you think that this is something that is hurting you later in life?
I feel like.
And okay, so don't just generalize it to you. Like, I guess I'm asking to you, and then how you think about your peers as well.
Yeah. I don't know. Most people cheat online, which it's really easy to do. Like everybody knows. So you're not necessarily getting the experience of having to think for yourself inside a classroom because you can't just like go on your phone or something. So you have all the access in the world. Tests aren't proctored or anything, so you can just look up what you need to look up. I think
accountability wise, like it's maybe like it could be like an accountability issue later on in life.
Yeah, and it's really hard. I've heard it's been hard for me with organization and time management because everything's pretty much on my own. I can just do it whenever I want, as long as it's turned in by like midnight or something. I have to think.
That would be kind of nice, though. So, Catherine tends to be somebody, she is like a straight A student. She is somebody who tends to be able to regulate herself. Well, A, B student. You're somebody who tends to be able to regulate yourself. And so, I guess that's why I was also asking what she thinks about her peers as well. Because I know for me personally, I am not a very structured person. I'm not naturally disciplined. It takes effort for me to be like that. And so, I don't think that I would necessarily be somebody who would have been able to do this when I was in high school.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of my peers are doing very good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are still failing, and it's mostly because they're not getting online and checking all their assignments, which it is confusing because you have to switch between, like, 4 other platforms, which that's, annoying. But
so then how do you check your grades? And, like, are you able to email and ask questions with your teacher or do Zoom meetings with your teacher if you need to?
I can do Zooms, and all of mine, I know in some high schools it's not optional that you have to be there, but all my Zooms are optional. And I don't feel a need to go in them, so I don't at all. Unless I'm suffering really bad in class, but I haven't been to one once. I only went in there once just to say hi and left. The teachers have never seen me again. Except that, but all my grades are good, so it doesn't bother me. It sucks not being able to see friends anymore.
Yeah, I could see
I can hang out with them outside of school, and I have been, but I weirdly miss my acquaintances and my conversations with teachers, but I still don't want to go on to Zoom because it's just weird. Like, we're all there simultaneously at once.
Yeah.
So you can't really have a personal conversation with a teacher or, like, an inside joke with them anymore.
So you think, like, the social interaction is part of it is, like, the hardest.
Mm-hmm. But it was one of the reasons why I didn't want to go back because we would all have to be, like, 6 feet apart in a really weird line. Halls are separated. It just wouldn't be normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to deal with it.
Were you afraid of, like, possibly getting sick as well? Because I know, so we live in Colorado Springs, and the high school that she goes to has, 1,800 students in it?
It's between, like, 1,600.
16. So that's a lot of kids funneling into a school. And let's be honest, when you're in high school, you don't wash your hands all the time. You don't, like, people are just dirty.
I was more afraid of, like, getting your child sick.
Yeah.
Nova, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah. My daughter is 3. She's almost 3. She'll be 3 in January. And she does go to school. It's been kind of funny seeing how they're structuring public school versus how they're structuring, daycare. At the daycare, I feel like things are maybe a little bit more relaxed in a way, but also not. Then again, like, how are you going to make a 3-year-old wear a mask? Making a 15-year-old wear a mask and making a 3-year-old wear a mask are 2 completely different things. However, I will say, so Catherine's school has, like 1,600 students in it. And I will say that one thing I think is that teenagers and 3-year-olds have in common is sometimes they can be messy and sometimes they can be dirty. She is a very clean 17-year-old. But I almost called you 15. I don't know why. It's because I just said 15.
That's so rude.
But yeah, she's like a really clean 17-year-old. So I think personally, that would be something I would worry about if I was having to do that.
How do they do that at daycare?
So basically at daycare, what they're doing is they are going ahead and having us, when we come into the building, they scan all our foreheads, they scan our daughter's foreheads, make sure we don't have a fever. The rule is that 3 and up has to wear a mask, which God bless those teachers that are working in the 3s, because I think it would just be awful to try to make 10 3-year-olds or however many 3-year-olds there are wear a mask. But yeah, what they're doing is that, and then they also are doing it where only one parent is allowed in the office at a time. So that's something else that's new, which gets kind of rough sometimes, I'm not going to lie. Like I said, we live in Colorado, so in the winter when that happens, I do find that it is freezing standing outside, but at the same time, whatever we have to do to make this whole pandemic, kind of go away and get better, I am totally for. So wear your masks, people. Even you 3-year-olds. Okay, we're going to go on to our next one, because I just...
That was really good.
I feel like it got better.
I'm most excited for.
So you know how we gave this a 6 out of 10? So I'm gonna pause really fast. I feel like as I kept eating it, I don't know if it's just because I'm hungry, but I feel like as I ate it, it got better. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
It very much reminds me of like the little microwavable Kraft mac and cheese, dusty cheese flavor.
Yeah,
it's just a little Cheeto aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly tastes good. Okay, one I'm most excited for. Oh boy, it's like condensed. Okay, well,
excuse me.
This is just
Oh,
condensed
so done. I don't know how I feel about it. Let me take a few bites.
I like I like spice, so I like the jalapeno because it's more flavorful than spicy, which I'm scared that's just going to be straight butt burning. So,
I feel that.
Which that's flavorful. It still very much tastes like, which I don't know, I'm not surprised, but I kind of am that it actually does taste like jalapeno Cheetos, but in pasta form.
I would give that,
I think it's 8. Yeah, I was like, I think that's better than this one.
like,
I'd rather give
it
this
a 9.
one. Yeah.
I agree. Like, I would go out of my way to buy that over Kraft mac and cheese, to be honest.
If they came in boxes. I don't think they do.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do? I couldn't see any at the store.
That's okay.
I only found microwave bowls, which were perfect.
It would have been worse having to make 3 big things. Yeah.
It would have been way worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely give that like a
You want?
8. It was yummy. 8 or 9.
It was really good. Not as good as deluxe Velveeta mac and cheese.
That is like the best. But
It's so creamy.
if they made like, if Velveeta and Cheetos got together on a collab and did
They could make
this,
a really creamy, like,
yes,
perfect mac and cheese.
that would be like delicious. You guys want the ASMR segment of our mukbang?
That is so nasty. oh no.
Excuse me.
Good one. So speaking of Nova, like, how's it like being a single mother?
So I would say in general,
Or a young mother?
a young single mother.
Yes.
In general, I would say that it definitely has its ups and downs for sure. It is kind of hard sometimes managing stress with it, but I do have a lot of help. Sometimes I don't really know if I consider myself like a single parent, which clearly, like, obviously I am. Her dad is nowhere in the picture, not on the birth certificate, and so in that sense I am, but I have a lot of support from, you know, mom and Matt, and maybe that's discrediting myself a little bit because at the end of the day, if you are a single mom, like, you have to create a village around you. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it also is very stressful.
Like mixing styles as well with parenting.
Yeah. Well, and figuring out your parenting style, and that's not just for single parents,
Yeah,
that's for anybody, and especially when you're a young mother, it's hard because everybody around you has this idea of how they parented, or even people who are still your age or around your age who have kids, they have this, like, mom shaming is a huge thing about it, or just everybody has their own opinion on how you should parent and what you should do. And at the end of the day, you really just need to sit down and decide what you want to do as a parent.
Yeah, and what works for your kid as well. Because all of them are going to be different and respond to different things, which I've learned that with Nova.
Yeah.
She's a little spitfire.
Yeah, she is. Which, and then bringing in the single mom part of it, it makes it hard as well because at least, you know, if you had a 2-parent dynamic, you guys are learning together, growing together, building together, figuring out your parenting style together and bouncing ideas off one another. Where I feel like sometimes I feel a little bit lost because the only person that I have, or people that I have to rely on, are people who I have already had children. And sometimes I wish that I had somebody to bounce ideas off of who also hasn't been a parent and who is my child's parent.
Yeah.
And so I would say that's something that I struggle with a little bit. As far as like the stress thing goes about it, I feel like a lot of that too is like mental health, which that's something that I really want to talk about in this video and that I'm really passionate about.
Well, how do you handle the stress? Like, what are your coping mechanisms? Because, I mean, if she's screaming and crying and you can't get her to calm down, like, without letting your temper blow up, like, do you walk away and leave for a second?
Yeah, you have to walk away. You have to walk away. Especially when they're 3. Like, she's going into 3. We're pretty much getting out of the 2s, going into the 3s. And it is really hard because when they're 2, they're getting, like, they're just starting to get their own little personalities. You know that they understand words, but sometimes, you're like, don't touch that. And then you think in your mind, are they just not listening to me? Or do you really not understand what I'm saying? And so now I'm kind of getting more into the part of it where it's like, she's forming her own opinions. And my daughter is a very strong-willed child. She's very opinionated, very strong-willed. She's very smart, and she's very driven. And so all those things are great qualities, all those things are hard qualities to manage when she's freaking out because you colored her Santa hat red.
That was me.
But yeah, and as far as managing stress, I would say a lot of it goes back to that village and being able to depend, like with my roommate, sometimes when things are really rough, I'm going to be like, hey, can you watch her for 5 minutes? I need to go separate myself. Or if, she's not in a position to and she's busy doing something, I definitely recommend a little cool off time. And I'll say to Nova, okay, I think, we need to have a timeout. I think we need to cool off. And a lot of the time, that timeout is for her because of how she's acting, but it's also for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta
for sure.
revisit the conversation.
Yes.
2 minutes later.
Well, and what's funny, too, is what's nice about her getting into being 3 is when I've cooled off, 5 minutes later, I walk upstairs, she's kind of cooled off a little bit, and I'll always ask her, do you know why I put you in your room? Or do you know why I put you in timeout? And she's getting to the point where, like, she does know, and she'll be like, yeah, I want to listen, or, yeah, and so, and she's like, I'm sorry, Mommy, and so, it's, like, definitely really rewarding, and I think that's something I kind of missed when you were asking me what it's like being a young single mom. It is really rewarding, because I have the most influence, I would say, on my child's behavior, my child's life, and, that can be a scary thing, and that's kind of going more into, like, the mental health thing that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But it's cool when you see them doing things, and you're like, that's me. Like, that is all me. And it's nice when you see them, like, she's a very independent girl. She wants to do everything by herself. And that makes me really happy, because obviously she feels safe enough and secure enough in the way that, I've raised her, and from the help of my parents and the help of my friends and Chase and Cheyenne, and so it's just really nice being able to know that she feels secure enough and safe enough to be able to express herself and do what she wants, and so it's very rewarding.
No wonder I pain my back.
I got back pain.
I do have back pain. Like, right in the flaming hot.
Flaming hot! Oh, shh. Alright, guys, we're being serious now. Okay, so the next one that we're going to go ahead and try, well, the last one we're going to try, is this one, the Flamin' Hot one. And this is the one that we want to be the best, but this is also the one that we're the most nervous about.
Oh, because I like putting in Frank's hot sauce on my mac and cheese.
Yeah.
So I really hope this tastes like spicy mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Like buffalo mac.
That would be awesome. Mm-hmm. The last thing that we're really going to talk about while we're eating our last one is this mental health thing. And, let's try this first.
It's my fork. There it is. Oh, that's nasty.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous. Let's take a drink first.
I hope it's hot. No, I don't want to drink first. I don't want a Dr. Pepper.
I want Dr. P.
Okay. It's not as bad as everyone said.
Mm-mm. But I definitely... Oh, it's
I
hot.
would take... Yeah. It's pretty spicy. I would take the jalapeno over this. If I was, like, craving really spicy food that's kind of like hot Cheetos, but I didn't want to eat hot Cheetos.
Or, like, when I was pregnant, I feel like I would have loved this.
You would have.
I would have loved this.
She would pour Frank's hot sauce on everything.
Everything. Everything. Yeah, I would say this is, like... I would say this is better than the regular.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, maybe, like, a 7? Like a 7?
Yeah.
Like a small... I don't know, we said that was a 7, so...
Well...
Okay, actually, I'm going to change my mind. This is definitely a 6. I'm going to hold my opinion. I was just hungry.
Yes.
This is a 6.
And it's probably because, well, you like spicy food, I like spicy food, so I feel like we like these more than the regular.
I agree. Yeah, and this is totally a 6. I would say the other one is like a 9, solid 9 after eating this. And this is probably 7.5, maybe. Maybe it could reach an 8, depending on my mood.
I have a tingle on the back of my throat.
Mm-hmm.
From that.
Honestly, it's like kind of shocking how spicy it is, though, a little bit, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was going to be as spicy. Honestly, instead of eating like hot Cheetos, if I'm craving that, I'd probably eat this instead.
Yeah, I would too.
It's like pasta.
I would too.
It doesn't get stuck on my teeth.
And I would buy that.
To be honest. I probably would too.
I'm not digging in my ear. That was gross. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so speaking of spicy things, let's talk about a little spicy topic really quick. And so kind of like veering, so how we were talking about like the single young mom thing, and I had mentioned stress. I am somebody, like, I actually struggle. I feel like this generation is so big into the whole, like, oh, I have anxiety, or I'm depressed, or I blah, 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 you know? And this is a whole different topic for a whole different video that I will probably do. But for me, I experience sensory overload, and so that's one thing that makes having a toddler really hard, is if you guys have toddlers or have been around them, you know that they are loud, they want their way, and that's just how they are. They're expressing themselves. And so I would say that the whole overstimulation thing makes, this kind of veering backwards, makes it hard for that. But I just really think that mental health is a topic that's becoming more talked about and is definitely more understood, but it's something that everybody struggles with. And I would say with this whole coronavirus thing going on right now, it's something that people are struggling with a lot.
Yeah, especially if they're really just staying alone. And they're having to just sit there with their demons.
Or people who like aren't able to work. Yeah, and are stressing about money. For me, it's just been one hell of a year with my mental health. And I guess I just want people to know that, you know, if you're struggling with it, like, you're definitely not alone in it. I am bipolar. I have bipolar too. And that's kind of where that anxiety stems from, that hypomania stems from. And I don't really tend to go into like a depressive mode a lot, I don't say. But
it's like a hyper depression.
Yeah.
Isn't that what your therapist said?
Yeah.
Wait, what is hyper depression? I forgot.
So for me, my hyper depression looks like I don't want to leave my house, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to do anything, but I can't sleep, I can't sit still, like I'm just kind of fidgety. But I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, because everything else is just overwhelming.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, like, what is it like for you to have to deal with, or not have to deal with, that's a really negative way of saying it. What is it like for you being my sister or being a sibling of somebody who has mental health issues?
It's kind of overwhelming at first. Yeah, especially when you, like, first kind of came back into my life after everything you went through previously. It's been eye-opening. Like, I don't see it as a negatively. It's more like I just understand you. Like, I try to understand you as much as I can.
Yeah.
And even if I can't, it's just, I have to realize, like, I kind of put myself when, like, I'm freaking out, and even though it's nothing compared to, like, her freakouts, when I'm freaking out, I can understand where there's irrationality in it, and you're not thinking straight, so everything seems way bigger than it is. And I just have to put myself in your shoes. And most of the time, I just get really quiet, because I don't think trying to, like, unless you know exactly what they're going through, I don't think consoling you is, like, very easy. I feel like Matt's really good at that, but I'm more good at just sitting back and letting you just get it all out into the open. And then afterwards you're like, okay, I already talked about it, so I can take a breather now.
Well, and what's funny too is, like, in those moments, like, I feel like, like, I refer to it as my brain feels like scrambled eggs. And in those moments, sometimes, and even if you don't have bipolar, if you're somebody who just struggles with anxiety even, you know, the one thought comes, and thought's like this big, right? Well, then you run with that thought so far that next thing you know, the problem goes from being this big to being this big fast. And I could see how that could be stressful for, you know, my family members and people around me, because like you said, I am really hard to console when I'm like that.
Yeah.
But I would also say, so I am getting back on medication for my bipolar. This is getting really raw and vulnerable. But I am getting back into therapy and getting back onto my medication for bipolar. And one thing that people with bipolar do a lot is, and my psychiatrist has told me this, is they tend to go off their meds. You know, you're in therapy, you think everything's great, you're doing good, you've been doing good for a minute, and then you think, oh, I don't need this. I don't need to do this. And if you're watching this and you struggle with what I struggle with,
take your meds.
Yeah, take your meds. It's a chemical imbalance in your brain.
And then you'll be back to point one.
And I would also say, too, I would advise, if you are struggling with mental health, don't go to a general practitioner.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I had done that before I got into the psychiatrist. I had been going to a general practitioner for my medication, and I just found that, you know, that's not their field. Mental health and behavioral health is such a delicate process, and it's so different from person to person. And I found that going to a psychiatrist really helped, because it made me more confident in my diagnosis, and it also made me feel more confident about the medication that she was prescribing. So yeah, if you're struggling with that, I would definitely say, do not go to your general practitioner. Find, if you have private insurance, whether you have Medicaid. If you have Medicaid, honestly, getting into a doctor is a lot easier. now that I have private insurance, I find it is a lot harder. But I would definitely just say, if you're struggling with things like that, get back on your medication. There is nothing wrong with taking medication. There's nothing wrong with doing things that help you. Do whatever works for you. And if something's not working, gotta switch it up.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Oh, it's spicy.
I know.
It's hitting me in the back of the mouth. It's like, it's building.
Because you still want to go into, like, nursing or, like, not
Oh,
psychiatry,
actually, no, I want to be a veterinarian now.
Oh,
I know. I switch everything, like, all the time. I don't know. It's mostly because psychology, I feel like I have too much of a heart and would get too involved with people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's not good, because that's not good for my mental health. And then a nurse or in the medical field, I don't think I can deal with patients if they're, like, yelling at me, which I would have to deal with people who are, like, going through something and are possibly like, going to harm me as well. And I would have to restrain them, and I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, that would be
Well,
really
veterinarian, it's still medical care, but it's with cute little animals, and I'm okay helping them out. Like, an animal that doesn't know what you're doing, so you can't really get angry at them, so they're scared, like, they're gonna act out, and you can't be like, why are you acting like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. So, overall, I'm going to go ahead and stop the mental health talk there. This is probably a video I'm going to do for another time and have it be more organized and put together. But, which one of these would you say... Hold on. Can you hold the other one up? Which one of these would you say was your favorite?
Probably this one.
I agree.
Because that, like, it's almost like spicy ramen.
Yeah.
Where it just, you want to keep eating it, but it hits you in the back throat, and I feel like it's going to give me acid reflux later.
Yeah,
But yeah. This wouldn't, though, because it's just more flavorful.
Yeah. I would say I would only buy this if I was, like, craving spicy stuff. And I feel like it would make me have some real spicy poops. This one
I know Cheeto'S do, so.
Yeah, and this one I would buy. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of the end of our mukbang. It's only my second video, so I don't really know what my outro is yet. We'll just run with it. Anyways, thank you for watching my video, and go ahead and hit the subscribe button somewhere. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm new to this still. So, somewhere down here. Somewhere down here. All right. Thanks, guys, and have a good day.